Why evolving? Well, grammatically, it's the present continuous in the English language and implies we're on a journey somewhere, accomplishing something, acting out something, changing something, including nature, culture, and ourselves. Evolving continues along a trajectory of our other threads themes: belonging, becoming, perceiving, telling stories and asking questions along the way. Let's begin. Do we humans actually evolve, or do we just make new tools and repeat the same mistakes in a series of repetitions as civilized barbarians? And what is civilization? Who defines civilization? And who are barbarians? What makes them barbarian? Who decides who is a friend or a foe? You once wrote, dear soulmate, battleships filled with mines float in the bloody seas of my eyes. Oh, how I understand you now more than ever. Now when you are safe under the ground and have returned to rain on us, we above yearning for love. The term evolution is equated with Charles Darwin. But what is less known about Darwin's work is that he also warned about devolution. Curiously, the 19th century British elite omitted devolution from the discussion on Darwin. Instead, the elites conflated evolution with the survival of the fittest from Herbert Spencer and used it to pump energy into their global exploits against other European nations in a race to end World War I and the collapse of 4 empires that soared immigration across the world, the uprooting of humans, lands, and dignity, and with it, new waves of technology across the Wild West. My ancestors fled these very bullets, asking merely for a chance to live, just as we do today. Soulmate, do you remember those times? Evening dinners of white cheese, melon, fish, bittersweet rocket greens, and rucka, the warm, moist towels fragranced with cologne to refresh our hands, cigarettes on the balcony, blowing puffs into the cool, Lodgevert electric blue sky, where the crescent moon and North Star greeted us, assuring all would be safe. And in the distance, a song played, I'm older now, but still running against the wind. And how we cleansed each other's souls and bathed our feet in the little plastic basin of soapy water. The books we discussed and debated, even the nasty one from Samuel P. Huntington, The Clash of Civilizations. Perhaps the fabricated story of what Samuel and his cowboy friend in power at the time envisioned for the global future. Remember when we tossed it in the water as if to wash it of dirt? Oh, but we shouldn't be disrespectful to books, even that one. So we rescued it. Now it sits, pages curled and yellowed, on my bookshelf in Istanbul. No need to read it again. Fantasy has become reality. I recall how that book dismayed Edward Said to no end. When was that? Back in 1895 during Kulturkampf? Or was it 1995 in America? Or was it 2025 or in 2125? Instead, I recall with great fondness the friendship and collaboration of Daniel Barenboim and Edward Said cultivating seeds of love, knowledge, and music in the West Eastern Divan Orchestra. Knowledge is the beginning. Oh, soulmate, where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. And when will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Was it, is it greed? But all Mayakovsky ever needed was a freshly laundered shirt. Remember I told you the story of how I peeked into his 3-by-3-meter room in the Moscow Museum well over a decade ago? Although forbidden, I opened the door and sensed this was enough room for him to write, to think, to love. A small fireplace to the left of the door, and on the right a wooden desk, chair, and lamp with a small photo. and a single bed stretched along the right wall. A window illuminated a hand-woven carpet in the middle. Mayakovsky, although you warned her not to, Tatiana, one of your loves, exiled in Paris, did give her legs to the oil and gas tycoons in the end. Is it the ebbs and flows of economic cycles and relentless competition that cause conflict? Are we foolish to lend our ears to CEOs, statesmen, and stateswomen alike? Are we filled with contradictions ourselves and part of the problem? Do we become prey to the slogans repeated over and over? When they teach and tell us, just do it, what is the it? Or when they boast, bring it home, what is the it? Are they divorcing our minds from our hearts, our instinctual sense of being peaceable? White phosphorus made in America, exported to the world. Is it reason to be proud? Is it reason to read the playbook? What is a playbook? Does everyone have a playbook? Are there drawings in the playbook? Is coloring outside the lines allowed? What color crayons are used? And does the playbook include new traumas created in the present? Future generations will have to account for these, won't they? Can they give us a break for a moment? Some haven't healed from the last 50, 100, or 500 years. Do they expect us to remember to forget everything? Will well-heeled scientists concoct a happy pill to make us happy? Evolution is inevitable. Do you remember people from a land called Canada? Or is it Turtle Island? That the prairies were once an ocean bed where dinosaurs roamed? Maybe it's a good thing to evolve and kick some of our old habits like smoking arrogance, superiority, and judgment of one another. Maybe the world will turn from unipolar to multipolar. Maybe new countries will show the way, like farthest south in the African continent, born from painful experience. As Ibn Khaldun, who studied empires over 600 years ago, ruminated, they are born from the marginalized, rise, lead, rule, corrode, stagnate, and eventually fall. Like an indigenous brother or sister or fellow citizens across the ocean who read Hikmet, I'd too rather be a tree in a forest of brother and sisterhood and alive, my branches courting the wind that sprout buds and leaves in the spring, than be a robot already dead. Who are these alleged scientists who stand so proudly before their Frankenstein creations, as if coaxing a female robot of plastic and lithium to sing opera? Are human voices not enough? Do you realize Frankenstein might do you in? Remember Stanley Kubrick's film Space Odyssey 2001? How? But it is said, don't exaggerate, it won't be like that. Are you sure it won't be? Who will be the winners? What does it mean to win? Must winning come at all costs? May we not share? Maybe we need to learn more to make sense of these times and ourselves. Maybe we can learn from animals how to become human, how to be moral. Lend an ear to a primatologist. Might one's upbringing and values learn from family, parental guidance or lack of, and social constructs shape how the next generations evolve? Will the judge's daughter judge and jail? Will the farmer's daughter seed, cultivate, grow? Will the businesswoman's daughter buy, sell, invest? Or will the next generation toss these habits and institutions aside and evolve into human beings not yet recognizable? Will they come to ask, why isn't economy an evolutionary science? Why, if we aim to improve and evolve the human condition through all other sciences, then why don't we evolve the economic science to be less destructive? A sociologist and economist, Thorstein Veblen, once asked these questions. Borrowing Borrowing from Veblen, my PhD dissertation asked the question, how do we evolve from peaceable and industrious to predatory and warlike beings? For Veblen, we have 3 human instincts to protect: the spirit of workmanship, parental bent, and idle curiosity. Should humans veer from these, twisted by coercion and competition, then we can also evolve into subjects of what he called business civilization, where absolutely everything is bought and sold. For Veblen, business is war, so wars are constant for him. But occasionally, though, he'd argue, we can have an outbreak of peace. So check your business model. And where there is war, peace and dignity come in its place. And with it, a story of tiny brushstrokes of gouache, as thin as eyelashes, that can lighten a heavy heart. For I know your cultural inheritance, despite we're both displaced and uprooted. I feel your strength and unfailing determination, despite our people being surrounded by a ring of fire. We will prevail, not because of business, but in spite of it, because of your love of humanity and sense of how to recover things never lost. It's told in Woven of the World. With assurance, we'll transcend these times through the craft and industriousness of storytelling for future generations. And this concludes some ruminations for now. Listen to threads with intent. Will you find moments when our threads intertwine? Will you sense how humanity may be recovered through tiny, intricate brushstrokes of an eyelash? And will you consider the words of Veblen, live and let live?